This episode shifts its focus toward Mordecai's attempts to impress Margaret, revealing more about his personality and the emotional undercurrent that often motivates his actions. Unlike Rigby, who tends to act purely on impulse, Mordecai frequently tries to appear mature and capable, especially around people he likes. The story begins with him getting ready to host a casual hangout with Margaret and her friend, something that should be simple but instantly becomes complicated once Rigby gets involved. This setup highlights another core element of their friendship. Mordecai's desire to seem responsible clashes with Rigby's chaotic, unfiltered behavior, and the imbalance between their energies becomes the source of the episode's conflict. The situation deteriorates when a group of unicorns shows up after Rigby uses Mordecai's cologne without permission. These unicorns are nothing like the magical, gentle creatures one might expect. Instead, they're rude, loud, obnoxious, and embody every stereotype of hypermasculine troublemakers. Their exaggerated behavior pushes the story into a comedic direction, turning what began as a simple attempt to look good in front of Margaret into a disaster fueled by toxic personalities. The unicorns latch onto Rigby, encouraging his worst traits and feeding his ego, which deepens the divide between him and Mordecai. Rigby's quick alliance with the unicorns shows how easily he falls under the influence of anyone who validates him, especially when he feels overshadowed by Mordecai. The unicorns manipulate him by appealing to his pride, making him believe they are boosting his confidence, when in reality, they are using him to access Mordecai's stuff. Their presence disrupts any possibility of Mordecai having a peaceful evening with Margaret, and the tension escalates as Mordecai realizes that Rigby is unintentionally sabotaging him through his desperate need for acceptance. The unicorn's behavior becomes increasingly destructive as they take over Mordecai's house, treating it like a playground for their reckless impulsiveness. Their antics create a hostile environment filled with noise, mess, and uncontrollable chaos. Mordecai's frustration grows not only because they're ruining his plans, but because Rigby refuses to acknowledge the problem. This emotional disconnect between them is one of the more interesting aspects of the episode, showcasing how their friendship can become strained when Rigby's selfish actions clash with Mordecai's attempts at genuine maturity. As Margaret arrives and the pressure intensifies, Mordecai's desperation reaches a peak. The unicorns start mocking him openly, showing no shame in humiliating him in front of the one person he wants to impress. Their behavior reveals the darker side of toxic arrogance, using peer pressure and cruelty to exert dominance. Margaret senses the tension and awkwardness, and the unicorn's aggression makes it clear that Mordecai will have no chance to salvage the evening unless he finds a way to remove them. The turning point comes when Mordecai discovers that the unicorn's interest in the cologne is tied to a bizarre supernatural addiction. Their obsession with it exposes their true intentions, revealing that they were never interested in Rigby's personality or camaraderie. They simply wanted access to something that gives them an exaggerated sense of power and charm. This realization finally makes Rigby understand that he has been manipulated, and his anger shifts from Mordecai to the unicorns. Their betrayal forces Rigby to confront his own insecurity and recognize how his desire for validation blinds him to obvious manipulation. The climax happens when Mordecai and Rigby decide to team up again, putting aside their earlier frustration. Their partnership becomes the key to stopping the unicorns, reminding the audience that despite their frequent arguments and mismatched motivations, the strength of their friendship always grows when they face a common threat. Their plan involves using the unicorn's addiction against them, tricking them into a trap that ultimately launches them away from the park and restores peace. The resolution is chaotic but satisfying, aligning perfectly with the show's pattern of resolving supernatural problems through improvised, slightly ridiculous solutions. After the unicorns are finally gone, Mordecai and Rigby share a rare moment of understanding. Rigby apologizes, acknowledging how his insecurity contributed to the chaos, and Mordecai accepts the apology with genuine warmth. This moment reinforces their bond and resets their relationship, showing that even when Rigby unintentionally sabotages Mordecai's personal goals, the foundation of their friendship remains strong enough to withstand the emotional bumps. Margaret's departure is calm and understanding, hinting that she sees the good in Mordecai despite the chaos around him. This episode expands the emotional layers of the series by showing how Mordecai and Rigby's flaws can clash in ways that affect their friendship. At the same time, it maintains the show's signature blend of everyday struggles, ridiculous supernatural elements, and character-driven humor. The events lead naturally into the next episode, continuing the pattern where their attempts to enjoy simple parts of life spiral into bizarre adventures shaped by their personalities, choices, and the strange world around them.